checking in on Friday, November 3rd. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Tons of stuff going on, news-wise, politically-wise, and we're going to get into all of that. But first, before I do so, there's a few philosophies, spiritual ideologies that I want to throw out into the collective consciousness, because there's quite a few thought processes that I've seen float around people lately that are unresourceful, that are harmful. So there's just some things I want to throw out there to help clarify, and then we'll talk about the news after that. So we're going to spend a few minutes today together. Grab your tea. If you need to, matcha, green tea, great stuff. And speaking of green, you know, partake in whatever else that you feel. Just hope you're doing it consciously. And let's get into it. So the first thing that I want to discuss with you guys, obviously as these words behind my head say, things that I've seen people harm their own selves with their minds, is fear. Obviously fear. First thing being fear of world events that are going on right now with how crazy things are getting. Somebody asked me today if I think things are going to be okay. And I told them I think things are going to be more than okay, right? Understand, things are going to get a little chaotic, but chaos begets change. You need to get uncomfortable before things can get better for you. So with what's going on in the world right now, do not fear. Of course, prepare, have some food and water on hand, have a full tank of gas in your car, do what's necessary, but do not let it get to you, okay? And also fear of the three-letter agencies. There's some people I've talked to lately, and they're scared of being watched, being tracked, being looked at by three letters, by various people they're scared of. And trust me, there is so many people waking up these days that there is nothing to fear. It's like a game of whack-a-mole that got out of control, and they can't do what they need to do to keep the evolution of consciousness from growing exponentially. So don't be scared. And then the last thing is self-doubt. So many people, I mean, we are in a society that has been made by our cultural engineers to completely profit off our self-doubt. And what you need to get over that self-doubt is courage. Trust me, you have to have the courage to share your truths, to share your experiences, okay? So many people I've talked to, they are so scared to do that, and we are at a point in humanity, in time right now, where it's so important for all of us to share our truths. We need to pick up the ball and run with it. And it's pivotal for each and every one of us to you. That's why I do these YouTube videos, because I want you guys to see that it's absolutely possible, and we all need to do it. So don't be scared to share your own truths. And as things progress, as you start sharing more now, those who are completely lost, as things get really chaotic, are going to be turning to you for answers, because you are the one that sounded crazy a month or two ago, but it's sounding really damn logical now with all the shit that's coming out. See what I'm saying? So don't be scared to share. And making the jump. So this one, you know, whether it is making the jump with a dream you've always wanted to have, like you want to travel, making the jump to go do that, or a jump to start a business, or not only start a business, but maybe get out of your corporate job and find a way to get paid or to get energy back, get some abundance for yourself by doing what you've always wanted to do, by bringing your passion to fruition, right? Creating your own non-job, as Elliot Hulse would say, or making the jump in a relationship, in talking to the dream girl, or maybe even getting out of a relationship that's not serving you. You need to have the courage to do it. Trust me, when I started this YouTube channel, it was a freaking jump. I'm going to share something with you guys. There was a day I had a few weeks after I just, I kind of split off my corporate jobs, and I was like, okay, screw it. I guess I'll try doing this YouTube thing. A few weeks after I started, there was a day that I looked at my bank account. There was negative $17 in my checking account, and I shit you not. And after that, luckily I was meeting a client of mine that day who gave me an advance and I was able to get out of that situation. But you got to make the jump. The universe will absolutely have your back. And you will be able to get out of these sticky situations as long as you keep your intentions pure and stay, of the light, as they would say. Don't force yourself to be in a sticky situation that's causing you so much spiritual tension because you're scared to make the jump. Just do it. And that brings me to my last one, motivation. And this one comes from actually a question from somebody on Patreon. Thank you, by the way. Side note, everybody helping to support me on Patreon. And actually on that topic, I'm going to start doing a weekly podcast. And everybody who supports me on Patreon will get free access to that weekly podcast. So I'll be doing that soon. But this question is about motivation. Dude said, loves my work and dedication. Thank you, my friend. Perhaps something you could touch upon sometime is just that overcoming procrastination and gaining motivation, particularly is for important self-work, like exercise, meditation, healthy living, and basically a lack of motivation. Lack of motivation in making your dreams happen. And what I've found is that 9 times out of 10, people are better motivated when they're in a shitty situation like I was just talking to you about. Basically when they have a dog running after them, chasing their ass. They're going to be more motivated than say having a big pot of gold or having the thing at the end of the race, right? People always function better when they're when they're in a shitty situation, or not functioning better, but more driven. So to get over motivation, you got to understand that motivation will fade. Motivation is not something you're always going to have. Whenever you start something new and fresh and you're inspired, whether it's to do something creative like paint, exercise routine, or you get a new job, or you're in a new relationship and you feel great, you're motivated, awesome, that lights you, okay? But understand, motivation fades. It's discipline that you need to bring you over the hump when your motivation slides, when your motivation descends, okay? Discipline is doing the damn thing. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, you got to do the thing to have the power, right? Throw a couple quotes at you. Bruce Lee said, being willing is not enough. We have to apply. This is why I always say knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential. You can know that vaccines are bad for you, but unless you actually make the choice to not take them, that's when you have the power. It's putting that into action is having power. So you got to do the damn thing. And you got to understand that you got to have discipline to do it when it sucks. I played soccer in college, at a community college, and one of the coaches I had there said something amazing to us that I'll never forget. He said, embrace the suck. And obviously 19-year-old me thought that was hilarious, still kind of think it's funny. But there's so much depth to what he said there. Embrace the suck, right? Trust me, doing these videos is difficult, and doing it every day is tough. And doing everything else, like the website work. I don't know freaking websites. I don't know web development. I don't know half the stuff I'm doing, but I'm having the discipline to find out how to do it, to talk to people that know how to do it, to learn from them, and do the shit necessary to continue doing what I'm doing. So that's basically the things I wanted to throw out there. Hope you guys enjoyed it. 9 minutes, didn't expect it to take that long. So let's lube up a little bit. And then get into the news. So let's get into the news of today. Lots of stuff going on pretty much from when I woke up, and it's only 1:30 in the afternoon right now, West Coast time, so who knows what else is going to break today, but let me share with you guys everything I've found so far today. So I want to first discuss the 4chan post that's really been making the rounds, and I'm going to post a link down below of where you can go check out a good capture of it, and it's a very, very long post on 4chan by an alleged patriot or insider, it sounds like, but the way this post is written and all of the questions, I mean like 50% of this giant long post is questions, but it's very good questions that you all need to read and think about very hard. and everything else sounds very legitimate. So this is why I'm discussing it, because if it does turn out to be something huge, don't want to leave it out, right? So what this post claimed, in short, not going to take the time to read it, and I don't have the whiteboard space to bullet out every point, but basically the military is going to be the only way that we're going to take back our power in this country, pretty much on this planet. I don't really delve with nationalities, but the military is going to be the only way. And what this post also claimed is that today we may see an indictment of a Podesta, if not both Podestas. I didn't think it's specified in the post, and we may also see an indictment of Huma on November 6th. So basically, shit's going down this weekend. The storm's happening. Storm's hitting us, right? And what was very interesting to me in this post is that it also said, everything in this post was interesting to me, but what it also said was that a question posed, what special powers does the president have over the Marines, and who are in particular the generals surrounding him? Now, I don't necessarily know what special powers the president has over the Marine Corps. I was trying to do some digging this morning, have yet to. But what's very interesting to note, and this perspective of mine comes from my research and my work that into the secret space program, is that we have a lot of people within the military, particularly aligned with the Navy and Marine Corps, that are really trying to bring disclosure and exposure out to the people. So I say this because I was doing work with William Tompkins, for instance, and he was still aligned with the Navy, and he was a sanctioned disseminator of information, particularly relating to the extraterrestrial issue and secret space program. There's some others that are aligned with the Marines and the Navy. If you look at Donald Trump, everybody around him, not everybody, but a lot of people around him are Marine generals, naval admirals. So I want to make that point clear. And when you also look at the history of the military, a lot of the cabal or deep state factions, especially the CIA, they've done a lot of work with the Air Force and the Army. So it seems that a lot of the nefariousness is, and of course you can't generalize, but a lot of the nefariousness is located in the Army and Air Force and aligned with the CIA and negative intel community. So that's a crucial point to make here. So what we might be seeing is Marine movements this weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit, but also just keep in mind, okay? Marines, Navy, National Guard. Again, don't be scared of any kind of martial law, but if you see troop movements, you might be good, okay? So now we'll get into what I've seen today. First of all, we had the Twitter malfunction, which was also very interesting because in this post, it said that the president would utilize Twitter to make some kind of announcement or throw some words out there as a signal or a hint or something of that sort. So with this Twitter malfunction happening, right, very interesting dot to connect there. Gives a lot of credence to this anonymous post being true. And then when this Twitter malfunction happened, in the corporate media, they reported it as being like a malfunction, or let's see, what did the Twitter government say here? At first they said it was inadvertently deactivated due to human error by a Twitter employee. And then they said, through our investigation, we have learned that this was done by a Twitter customer support employee who did this on his last day. A disgruntled employee, ha ha ha. That really sets off my bullshit detectors. And not only that, but what also makes it look more ridiculous is that I saw a couple screen captures of people who were on the president's Twitter page this morning, and he only had about 4,000 or 5,000 followers. So it doesn't look like it was a disgruntled employee. It looks like some serious analytics tampering, if you know what I mean. So there was that. Then we had WikiLeaks, I heard, was down for a few minutes this morning with a denial of service, a DDoS attack. Not only did we have that, I saw that 4chan was temporarily unavailable. Again, quite odd. seeing as where these little nuggets dropped past few days. And then, of course, the White House on lockdown. So soon after the president took off to go on his trip to Asia, really weird time to go on a trip to Asia. Again, another dot to connect. There was the lockdown of the White House, which it was said a man was arrested for a bomb threat at the White House. And what we need to do here is, again, quantum think, holistic analysis, see all sides of the picture, right? So if the White House gets locked down, was it deliberate? Well, most likely, right? A dude's just not going to walk up with a bomb to the frickin' White House. There's going to be some kind of motive or agenda behind it. Well, by who? So if a dude's going to go up to the White House with a bomb, maybe, and again, I'm going to kind of speculate here on both ends of the spectrum, if this was done by the White Hats, maybe they needed an excuse to lock down the White House. Extremely plausible in my mind there. So, could have been that. Could have been, obviously, an attempt at a false flag, right? Could have been nefarious in nature. Could have been bad guys trying to do it. So, again, we don't necessarily know, but we can speculate and find the plausibility of each situation there. So, White House on lockdown, while the president goes overseas, and apparently there's a lot of shit happening this weekend, so that's why I'm like, grab the popcorn, folks. Just make sure it's non-GMO, organic popcorn, but shit's going down. And also, I saw this by way of Liz Croquin's Twitter. She's awesome, awesome Pedogate researcher, and truth vigilante. There were some paratroopers that were apparently seen over Southern California. Not only paratroopers, but some snipers on some rooftops. So again, kind of same idea as up here. Could very well be good troop movements. You know, if I'm seeing paratroopers over SoCal, well, I'm actually not going to be scared of that. If it was a false flag, it would be much more suspicious. It would be much more mysterious in nature, if you see what I'm saying. So again, could give credits to a lot of troop movements happening this weekend. And lastly, a couple points I wanted to make. On Twitter this morning, Trump talked about ISIS, right? He talked about how ISIS was nearing defeat, or that they're ramping up their attacks on ISIS. Well, again, what is ISIS? It's a deep state proxy army. Intel agency proxy army, whatever you want to call it. So the war versus the very last of it is getting to a completion here. Not only are we seeing them, let me slow down here, driven out of Syria, but I just saw on the news that there are airstrikes beginning against ISIS in Somalia. So there are some serious movements by the military to combat the deep state proxy army, while potentially also combating the deep state themselves in America. So again, folks, be understanding of everything that's going on, you know? Share this video, just share these things, the articles, and come to an understanding yourself enough to where you can talk about it to your friends and family and calm them down. That's a really huge thing, you know? We're gonna have to, everybody watching this video, you chose to be the person. You incarnated at this specific point in history, and by choosing, you know, the path that led you to the videos like mine, information like mine, you are one of the people who is here to help this along, to continue the disclosure process, and to help your friends and family be calm, understand, but also help break their egos a little bit, if you see what I'm saying. Like, this is the fucking truth, people, not whatever you're believing over here. So understand that. And lastly, there's some data that's been dropped today. So we had a former fund manager for George Soros who worked at Bear Stearns. His name was, what's his name? Howard Rubin. Called him Howie, which is just a freaking creepy name. Anybody called Howie? Anyway, he was implicated in a human trafficking enterprise in which he, earmuffs if this is too much for you, raped and electrocuted and imprisoned women in his New York City sex dungeon. So there's some women that filed a lawsuit, and this was actually reported, I found it on the Daily Mail. It's been reported on mainstream. So again, a lot of this stuff is hitting mainstream. Maybe the white hats are able to pull some strings in the mainstream media to get some of this truth out there. Very possible. But anyway, big name implicated in Pedogate. He was a fund manager for none other than George Soros. You got to understand, right? That's the Achilles heel of the controllers of our world, is the trafficking of everything, drugs, guns, but primarily humans, and especially children. And they're trafficked around this planet, and, you know, there's layers of truth, but they get trafficked off planet as well. So I'll leave that conversation there. That's when we can have another time. But anyway, this dude, blown up in the media. And then lastly, last thing I want to talk about here is the FBI, about 4 hours ago, they actually they tweeted this on their Records Vault page. They tweeted the October 2016 application affidavit and search warrant related to the email server investigation of Anthony Weiner's laptop. And this search, the freaking application that they tweeted and put public, you can check my Twitter out if you want to see it. Shameless plug. It actually mentions Hillary Clinton's server, and there was classified information ranging from confidential to top secret SAP, special access program level information between the years of 2009 to 2013. SAP, secret access, secret special access project. Telling you, that's not a coincidence. This being leaked by the FBI right now is not a coincidence with everything else going on. So I think we're in for a big weekend, folks, and I would be very interested to see what kind of SAP, special access program info was on Clinton's server. And I would be more interested to see what kind of unacknowledged special access program understanding that Hillary Clinton has in her head. Because there's programs that are on the books, and then there's programs that are off the books. And much like I was saying with the SSP stuff that I'm doing a lot of work to actually bring out right now, there's some things in the works. That William Tompkins interview that I did is on the way very shortly, but there's a lot of unacknowledged special access projects that have yet to come to light that involve, I mean, of course, like I was mentioning, human trafficking is one of the biggest things to blow up in the whole disclosure process right now, but also the secret space program component, the technology component, the fact that this deep state has hidden free energy and the technology that can control gravity from us since the 1940s, if not sooner than that. So absolutely crucial to find out what the heck is going on. And like I said before, those two things, Pedogate and secret technology, and basically the screwing of science, the literal mind control of all of us with what science is for the past hundreds, if not thousands of years, those two things are the biggest. Pedogate, secret space program. That's why I try to meld the two as much as I can. Whenever I see like a Pedogate researcher start to delve into the SSP stuff, I get all excited. I'm like, yes, they're getting it. It's all connected. Every single little thing is connected, folks. Whether it's vaccine truth, the pharmaceutical system, chemtrails, whether it's the financial system, whether it's human trafficking and pedophilia, whether it's the secret space program, every single little thing is connected. That's why I try to be as broad as I can, try to know a lot about a little and a little about a lot, you could say, and bring it all together as much as I freaking can. So, cool, man. I think I covered everything, you know? Might as well just like leave this live feed up like all weekend, right? What if stuff starts going down and I gotta just leave it on? What's the record for the longest YouTube live stream, right? See if I can get the record for that. They wouldn't give me the record though. They would just demonetize more of my videos. They've been doing quite a bit of that lately. So anyway, you guys got any questions for me that I could time to flex, right? What am I drinking? Matcha tea. It's a green tea. Very good for you. I recommend if you're trying to come off coffee, which I would recommend all of you try to come off coffee. It's not good for you. One of the most socially accepted drugs there is. Use matcha. It has 1/4 of the caffeine as coffee, but much more antioxidants. and it's much better for your brain. So it's really good stuff. How true do I think this 4chan post is? Somebody asks. We'll see. I mean, that's kind of why I was so excited by all of this stuff happening. And, you know, I also posted on my Facebook and my Twitter today, I'm like, either this weekend is going to be the absolute biggest mindfuck for truthers that we've ever seen, bigger than 2012, or it's gonna, I mean, shit's gonna hit the fan, and it's gonna be real. So it's gonna be one or the other, you know, don't get attached to either one, and that's why when you share these things, say, it could happen, allegedly, you know, don't get caught up in it happening, and then you look like a fool and your heart's broken, but also, don't think it's not gonna happen. That's another big thing that I've seen floating around the collective consciousness, is people thinking that shit's never gonna happen. And whenever I see that, I'm like, well, not with that attitude, right? We're making stuff happen with simply the use of YouTube videos, with simply the use of Facebook posts and shares of truthing articles and things like that. Every single little thing you're doing is helping. Don't underestimate that. Don't underestimate your own potential, the potential of just one simple choice, right? So, yeah, that's me on my soapbox there. Oh, sativa or indica, somebody asks. I'm a sativa kind of guy. But I'm also trying to come off of it more, you know? It, been a little bit too much lately. Somebody asks when I think the shift to, the timeline shift to fourth density will occur. Great question. You know, this one is going to be maybe over the heads of some people, you know, but this all has to do with the big picture, the biggest picture of them all, and that is the quantum shift, the evolution that we're all going through, the very fast one, the ascension or revelation process, you could call it. And this is primarily why my next webinar I'm doing is on ascension, because it's like the biggest topic that has been hidden from us, or not hidden, but misconstrued. It's been misconstrued from us, and it's very important to understand. So that's why I'm doing my next webinar on ascension, the solar flash, and how that is going to affect our consciousness and our DNA. So thank you all for who's signed up for it so far. Big props there. Somebody asked, am I an alien? We probably all are, man. Tell you what, though, the deep state is really in with them. But also, let me go off on a tangent there. There's good species and bad species, okay? And if you look at the UFO issue, all the psychological operation that's been done with it over the past 5 or 6 decades has primarily been to either make us think they're all good, and even more recently, there's been psychological programming done to make us think that they're all, or did I say all good? I meant all bad. More recently, people have been trying to make us think they're all good, and they're both, okay? It's not a black and white world, it's very gray. So there's good ones, absolutely. There's good species of non-terrestrials helping us at this point in human history right now, but there's also very bad ones. And that's just the truth, folks. So there you go. Polarization, absolutely. Polarization is crucial. And this is a massive spiritual understanding that's been, in my opinion, deliberately drilled into our heads through the New Age community and spiritual community, is that by simply focusing on good, focusing on positive, that's how we're going to ascend or graduate, or that's how we're going to get rid of all the evil in the world, is just think happy thoughts, think rainbows and bunnies and whatever the case is. But that is naive, because if you continuously focus on the light, you don't have that polarity. Then you have nothing to gauge the light from, and of course, if you don't shine the light on the darkness, if you don't take the spotlight and point it at the roaches in the corner per se, if you understand my metaphor here, they're never going to scatter. So you have to face your shadows. Not only collectively are we facing our shadows right now, with everything being exposed right here, but individually, you know, as above, so below, we're all facing our own shadows right now, and our own psychological shadows. So running from that is you're going to go nowhere fast, and in fact you might dig yourself down into more of a deeper hole. So learn how to combat your own shadows, learn different techniques in doing so, learn psychoanalytic concepts to help you understand your own mind. Everything is mind. Look into Carl Jung. I love to read Wilhelm Reich, Dr. Alexander Lowen and his bioenergetics. There's many mental tools you can utilize to combat your shadows with and to become a full, healthy, whole human being. So that's my, I gotta like keep cutting myself off on these rants. Like, boom, done. All right, man. It's about half an hour in, so I think I'm gonna head out. So anyway, thank you for your time, guys. This one was a longer one. I hope you appreciated it, and I think that's all. We'll see what kind of stuff pops off the rest of the day and into tomorrow. Probably be doing another one of these tomorrow. And in fact, go follow me on Twitter, because I'll start posting there maybe like hour before I do these live feeds, so you can get a little bit of head up. So Twitter, Facebook. Again, thank you all for supporting on Patreon and through grabbing my webinars. And I'm going to continue creating beautiful knowledge-based products for you guys, and I got plans for ebooks and more webinars and bigger plans for other projects that I'll be talking to you guys about soon. So have a beautiful weekend, guys. No fear, don't be scared, share your truths, and onward and upward, guys. Take care.